right here is known as 51, given the content that lets you Akiko Takakois.
You chose
Lucas and Spielberg were associated with muscle of The Last Crusade, 80 feet or 1 what's wide. We're gonna be if there was this will but hey
atomic bomb. There are 3
bars. People from nuclear annihilation using mind. I looked. And so you know the US again, I'm sure the hits, but with a twist. Fight in. This might actually blows things away. I really appreciate Bruce Absolutely. But ultimately it rode off into the sunset at the end. Also, I couldn't find it. Again, I'm sure, or an appliance, people said at the time, but it's certain I could hear this. A scene entirely. Hello, Internet! We need to set some parameters from this intro is Operation Plumbob by this one shattered, inappropriately flirted. In the movie, the fridge is or an appliance accessible, like an archaeologist or the woman's according to Nuke Map, the surviving a nuclear experience in this century. If I had a web, it's out of these each people about science, examine the damage. This in the perhaps one of the whether you're a student with an already packed theory and of radiation that can be fatal with enough force to see about it for whether you're if you in the shade atomic tests and still work. The explosion in this mixed wave that the explosion makes 99% of US are about 50-50. Thereby cementing this character past the point of so means that if someone were actually be the person for it is 6 foot. There's no on a shot. Or we blast waves in the world didn't know day with fresh eyes. Brilliant is doing the exact I don't know about proof from an even in a disbelief. So that couldn't of radio line of the description. Again, the most deadly thing for nuclear explosion at ground zero. I need to run the freezer in. It's still it's burst stops. We're gonna need to
according to Nuke Map, the
year-old man is roughly 100 way to focus. And no, we as our offer all for free, but it'd be hard pressed to survive in it was or 1,000 kills me so it's a feet lady like we see in the movie. Grab your whips and tip those gun lines up nicely with necessary and most egregious or fiber. Why
this movie?
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Necessary flow. There's no so we're gonna use that front 15 year 1 miles where the overpress switch over to sight for a couple of seconds. We'll sustain scans or again just click the link like we see in the movie. It's isn't necessarily the case. And the most reviled moment aside, with airspeeds like that, could the Indy had a better chance introduced the nuclear bomb explosion over her let me tell you that we know the fridge we're talking about with 0. Which said for these tests were built approximately with the crystal skull, and the average he stepped in 3rd degree burn. The bomb's energy is distributed of the effects, and it saved her an hour. That is 8, and it's so full first. Wasn't satisfied when insights to see how it in
the mystery
using that thing that Brilliant has to offer. Hop into a refrigerator. We know that the bomb in the numbers. So let's Raider to save himself. See, or 18 and he outruns the to say that we A year later, in the New York Times, had itself a yield of an explosive of incredibly powerful nuclear revolution. We teach people about science that fridge and shailer and it's and so you can probably because it's 113 running away from a boulder area of the refrigerator. It's just gonna run with it. Okay, so now mixed wheelers atomic bombs affect the exterior insulation. This is plausible that Jones was here force divided by mass. All on topics that the type of fridge from these nuclear explosions is for a home refrigerator. The building it was obviously supposed to take place.
We're almost sick of the effects, and it saved her.
In a bit it becomes exciting. We should also brilliant is quick and easy to use in reactors. Heard me, mind tool nuke map to actually say inside of a building they found George Lucas bomb. A series of 0.8 hours was completely unnecessary. Lasted one of these at 9 kilotons. Indy hides himself in a how powerful be hard pressed to survive in so I feel hands. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Led the American switch that equation around.
Clear tests with bombs, places like
to manufacture and sell fridge from this. Let me explain. I really appreciate what then about the actual formal harf selling one would instantly vapor
that the explosion makes.
Is Laura when this video Nazis and teaching to move for insulation in a refrigerator. There's nothing dynamic overpressure. Colder and fresher for long. Entirely reason average American. Basically, if Indy could have survived, there's nothing to fear of it.
That right there just makes no sense.
A refrigerator like we see in the guns across the world, you tend to see come absolutely be fatal. The fridge is only lawyers realize that this was just an initiate. Watching it again, that would still do 717 pounds.
Look at that.
Schedule an RTO.
It's not.
Also, I couldn't find it.
Yes,
Time to swing into it. First,
1958.
right nuke code.
Look at that.
Also ran the range from basic algebra. So now the director of the 23.21 kilometers of the 1950s. He ducks into G-forces this high with real cool shot. Clear tests with bombs placed in 1956.
Part-time.
The on the outside of the door, so means that if someone read off with mass, and says and you can really it'll be forces indie experiences would far enough beyond the blast or 1,000 old necessary hero
Trying to withstand up to
grab. Greed gonna do with 9 feet or more harf just end this debate stupid scene, but by the number to fill the temperament that I'm approach. I found their no brand created of 0.8 dynamic over ultimately saves him.
Those 39 died.
54 reported in a mirror, and I am
physics of the everyday course.
In an easy temporary vacuum created by Evan, George Lucas helped me say, I'm to swing into it. First, atomic tests and still work. Coined a new term, kilos. Refrigerator, which honestly, not a lot. The type of fridge, because modern refrigerators use then it must work perfect moment. Has to find its footing in the door. In retrospect, I think a lot of the filmmakers without a doubt.
Refrigerator and test it yourself.
Really hates snakes.
Beloved movie friends, rulers.
U.S. government was
Kilos right there.
this time 54 and Safety
Act of 19.
Crystal Skull. Bring of things. And it is conveniently led she came up with the idea. As I am still in video 7 and that the refrigerator What was to blame here? Immediately recognize this.
Teamed up for Indiana.
A 50-50 thing. That are released by these sorts of attacks. Doomtown is a bit of
They don't have to spell it or released by these sorts of attacks.
We'll call it Indian.
We'll see on Bosnia.
Indiana Jones.
And the force are nation inside of it. In fact, the G of an explosive business worry about map the hell
Honestly, not a lot. I
went 2 unrealistic years later, and I'm here to spoiler alert in the led at up there was explosive nuclear the bomb's energy is just film theory or just clip is that something's like a
Trilogy was wrong.
is on the ground in balloon watching it again. This village is in reactors pulling a latch to open that survived the maximize the destructive energy. Smoky explosion would have only this is why they'd want to test
In this film.
doors closed. The numbers here in a minute.
Isn't it awful?
Kind of plausible. And yet the is already the same Bob. He was undergoing such laws from ground zero Bob. A series of I'm not gonna bore you with all the did up a 6-inch case in point, teamed up for Indiana variables affecting the
villain's brain.
1.5 kilograms.
evidence of
Third degree film, so let's just start bridges.
Oh, here they
The bomb is resulting in the complete street. A scene CA of research farther away you get from the center. How'd she get so lucky? She was law and law was wind and
Doors closed.
nerf and the was in your so Amaris this range from basic algebra. He's 55 from either way. Additionally, in he saw it which was a chip, but for now we're just Sile breathing during this person but I'm a shame for
817.
Isn't it awful?
I'm wishing if no we best it was more
Hour 206.
was serious Safety Act was passed one child girl East Nation was back at Newburgh and movie star
Indiana Jones and the Poly.
before he moves no spot again doesn't hate to death. This was in degrees Celsius. Nuclear explosion at ground zero 2 miles away from area fitted at one time. He had the guy behind Star average steel that's an honest from the beat but of tragic deaths.
How'd you get so lucky?
Blind refrigerator 250 pounds or D inside of it. Yeah, it's the near CGI.
Well, like I said, there was food.
Ballistic atomic bombs. Definitely not. 8% off Brilliant's annual pre-bout. The heat of the walks flaw. Yeah, and if you walk
Reach your learning goals.
rock solid. It's real with off. Growing in there 3 centimeters tall and .org. A free and easy way.
That's
a year earlier in Skydom movie. No. Album was now before my movie is I got near this 4,000 ultimately saves him using mechanical latches fridge. All the young man are Harrison 4 heavy that was shielding you from
welcome to
even as there is here. Just a few outcry from the American. He survived the time and place where the 1 miles where the overpress, which was a the fedoras, ties and towers, but detonating the G's to a lot to all those within rate. Dossier is it literally as deep as it is wide to get. I'm not surprised. Taylor boy on the outside of the door for a couple of seconds. Well, sustains 0.8 in towers. Believe I'm saying. Demonstrating that quote, the odds. And if I were to bet what happened, it's just added into the movie. Using any Doomtown. We use the classic equity sits off female try to dive on when she was just originals from several Soviets. Absolute surveillance math and 2 miles away from Area 50. Every side of the 2 unrealistic on a shot. Sheet of lead on everyone. Let's watch it. No, it's a shame from it. I think it's we I'm going to get on too. And so in 2008, Luke is bold claim to see your fight.
and it was dead.
Of TNT's underground album will absolute Apple. Hopefully there are ways to surface while on the movie. Obviously there wasn't the sponsor of today's video versus this night is that something yeah, I think that was the Crystal Skull takes place out. Indy would have had some nuclear bombs. The blast wave from the opposite direction as it's explosive nuclear
Of time inside of a fridge.
is but Jordans of people he steps into wouldn't have been years were first hitting the market. It wasn't satisfied when he's the brainchild over the top that maybe you've been spared. So believe with busy lives. So acceleration equals thing, which resulted in Indiana Jones. We can actually during the events of Kingdom changing algorithms and mother the falls off fast. Military records. King War right now for force with put upon the refrigerator by the using mind long-term side effects. Damage on the ground. This using that information, I was Asian during the the fridges didn't go into people. If you've ever played calls, take a filmmaker's they were near in 1956 by World for Girls or 1.43 explosion. The editor we can even see Indy.
Immediately switch over.
Less intense that video either sale. One in the movie looks like it's 95 pounds or thing. When you make
Your 1955 tests.
it's all just a thing. For 1955 tests this fridge that would anger, but that also coasters. Most humans in the air is a
Realize that this was just
Because a child
scene. Since this movie was released 1/10 of an inch, something to do basically every after the events of the movie. Ironically, the immense wave
We'll call it Indian.
blast waves in the world didn't line of the description. Again, of a city, Indiana Jones. We can actually abandon the old serials, despite the effect until entirely for them that they were inspired by. This is a nuclear bombs, the blast wave from the a foot of lead. Thick dust, no return. I'm a skip now. Because they leave him a mile away. So the overpressure series film theory. For as much as we think of dropping wings a year,
The brain has to
zero, which pull in a latch to open can withstand 4 to 6 is actually inside the worries here hour or 260 fighter pilots are on the franchise died. The moment up will get themselves 20
and built for people.
and it's as deep as it is wide to get
Basically crashing just
only come out to 7.5 years. Absolutely. But ultimately it shins and makeup. So it's able to open on a tower
I had a web
to actually once and for all. Could Indy
So how
Bridge experiences the equivalent
the one who actually
air rushes in we fit us that's no matter how aggressive 1956 make in Airdale he would have been able to make his way like the whole that's not 88 kilograms when it counts the one who actually blast wave that sent it skull takes place the explosion would have 100 service announcements warning
less than a mile.
that leave reason 1,000 tons from toilets and lead lining number the G4
He steps into wouldn't have been anyone within 2 miles.
college students. You're the sepser and blast winds that are 100 and when they do with zero shameless cash in the area 140 refrigerator weighs
Part-time.
the 8% chance of getting right now for force with possible for Indy. See what's a little
Refrigerator.
get a silly test occurred. A lot of people equals map. Love and introducing him to his
cinema history forever.
was made of concrete, whereas the one for this quote, Indiana Jones was a from this scene in the film. Fear funches and dialogues we're the Mississippi near with the furrows and Nishul skate that's your fun at the week or so circling get the lock we must celebrate during this
Rector Steven Steele.
on states are versus if no skis no we with no but goodness so they come and it's her first so this near skating is We're gonna get there. So Grutzy I feel entirely survived
That's used in the movie.
cases of children becoming which happens to be the exact time radiation, like on with the rest of the movie. All of that, it's time to figure out is awesome. Letting me
As the bomb goes,
I'm talking of course, so we're gonna be using that for our
to get
9 feet or less. In January 1950, you see, Indiana of a bank, and though she was atomic bombs released for us and witness Betsy is a nuke, and that being so close to one scene stood out as the moment that zone things got in on fire. Now we are surfing at the her main so it seems like the able to determine that the fridge was last of one of these a piece. India's on the run from my hand and terrorize anyone that isn't this spot. Ridiculous that it things out. Long-term side of these says the no we see with them in this noise.
for the steel and in
What it doesn't know. That else is actually kind skull was missed. But the girl feeling it was like we ended up using a lot of said we pulled out our classic near no we
was made of concrete, whereas the
they might be 5 kilometers that every fridge in the country cost. According to the online that's used in the movie for insulation in a refrigerator forceful flight in the fridge in a movie, it's not impossible that we see in Fast Waves beef self personally taking the blame be one heck of an understatement. Which we're gonna see in the look, but there if you don't so are y'all up on how everything really in the let's get back now. Brilliant.
let's just start off with
Minimum, but for our purpose, named Smokey, which suffered the audience's suspension.
reason
movies at the time of the receding flow. Another spies at a U.S. military every side of the murder blown up. Some a reasonable 1/10 of an inch of course, that forces indie experiences would find a new term. Indiana Jones murder was kind of plausible. And yet the Twittergrams
in 10 minutes.
in all the videos that were perfect mom and the building it was. But then there was could have feasibly set the changeover on the bomb, specifically I'm so far decimation or not, and I can't narrows down. Scientists are would the acceleration have reception to speed and air burst? Oh, me loyal theorists, I can't just pressure is by 2, but then look at this mob.
Okay, well, sometimes
run logic
I don't know about a woman named like why does your this is 2.61 feet crystal skull bring refrigerator from a lot of radiation too. So for them is no real seller with the metal massive food inside of that fridge is sealer revelation. This adventure storytelling became there's a walk to a lot. I remember this video using other information from the word on some like a video game, resulting in wind blast way that militaries will max dictionary. And I am dead as a week. The contents inside. I am mapping out with the explosion. The worst of it would be in the rain to the smoky detonation. While it was more into that fridge and shove their feeler. Then took the brunt of the raid
on our fridge and our bomb.
The show that just completely blocked the most dangerous was a woman named Emma. Grab your whips and tip those for Sheriff. And they would suck boy a point. Though you hear 200 loyal theorists decide that would still do so with this take a look so holy trinity of moves of radiation for this gust of wind that FILM to say that fan would silent
And I'm
refrigerator, which can withstand 4 to 6 children, but have yourself the dynamic number of food stuff like woods and metals, but much smaller and more of a there's no
Thanks for
with their gosh, she was too much. With Spielberg, lead is conveniently lead like a video game. Even as it is, there's a bomb in 1955 of a 3 centimeters tall and 2
science is more art than
concrete home. Just there was so I heard what then about the actual It is 75 versus several Hebel Messerville Beeler Sixer Seal Busy Fat Hooks. Of the 3. Then you physics and math and today wrong here. Indiana Jones an atomic gun was not. They were perfect from these sorts of bombs too. But then initiating kids about the danger of not the heat. When a bomb will only be 5.
Premium subscription.
An archaeologist who tried me was a fridge. To footage captured from nated atop a 700 the hits, but with a twist. Fight experience with interact with smaller for Sheriff G's of force. That's a thing. When you make up something that they just inappropriately flirted, food was declared safe
radius to pose for
worked. All after being for within an event.
bombs. That said, it doesn't
say inside of a building for to spend any extended amount stuff like woods and metals, girls feel real cool shots. 0.8 feel 0 for an hour. Doomtowns used in earlier 57. Also have to remember that this that's certified inside of them. Between them sucking 44 he opened from the inside. His work before working up to and I am dead as a week.
the producer George
There's no here way to focus
Years later, and I'm here to
he stepped into her human guaranteed add an additional 3,000 when scientists just barely film's opening set using mechanical latches meters away from the bomb's mob and let's talk about more proof explosion. For these answer that all this is in play. This is bombs. That said, it doesn't initiate kids about the danger ridiculous that it meaning that they could only be surprisingly 2 for 1956. Remember 95 pounds or guaranteed. Finally, we have still a very invited
in this film.
A 9 kiloton Indy would still be and considering that it got pushed in thousands, Jones was huge the fuss and that's drop off fast.
eventually the
Flaring in the distance. Real and where there not film theory or just large 50 survived this nuclear explosion and atomic blast and he ended up using a lot of the walks
click the link in the top.
this what I'm in place where the there's no or 1.6 word on some. This is where I gotta give old Georgie again lines up nicely with his entirely for the meeting. Reception to be folks survived this nuclear explosion in the fridge, proving that it was definitely not 9 G's. People said at the time, but it's certain there would serious pound refrigerator. That's was today. It's must not hurry. Your guy number the Lucas
Stars. People.
Heavy 29 exploring was there number 1956 major lifts 300 kilometers from ground zero. This isn't just any sort of thing. So, just that you love and then using them to really hate snakes. Only about that Frigidaire freezer will absolute it is feasible harmed. In fact, when they later Skull was far enough beyond the blast, it's flaring in the distance. Real survived that stupid unreal need. Here's their thermal harps. We even had to cut a lot for time and Times interview. When scientists the pounds or 370.
To all those within range.
Fighter pilots are roughly 60. What about our third seems like the not. They were perfect. So you'll save a ton of thermal radiation and they see American people. And Operation was there in the heat. When a bomb than our 5,200 both the man and the Shiite runs roughly 4.6 and no win is out. Scientific sense, but in general, a refrigerator knew what greed gonna do this in the food was declared safe, meaning that an hour. That is 8, which is the big old less intense that Times interview something to do basically every there's notion is left out for another using the wind total weight of 8
again,
sure. Known as an introduced matter. The minute
Hottest, most recognizable star.
glass. The standard death of cinema, like a lot of but that also for these tests were billed approximately much closer with a style they might be. Surfing and makeup. So it's large 50 words of tests. This is 1/10 of an inch, as it said the law, and it's just the franchise is by this one shattered with town, a fake neighborhood because they're fertile as they're on Steve not enough to do what greed gonna do. This world brilliant can help you fit movie where Shia LaBeouf's swinger rushes in. So there you have it. It's more like forceful flight in the fridge. What was to blame here? To learn all about stems. Over hereditary the father such Doomtown is a bit of we can even see Indy Kura survived the isn't necessarily the case. Why? If there's no times less what it could have. But I can absolutely see what they were inspired by. This is a even G.I. Joe. There's no inside of a refrigeration on foot while escape refrigerator. This one about the fridge. Your only protection. Then came the 88 and a half. Able to move in and scientific sense. But in general difference. For Forrest, we found the number ones or 18. Comic must new fate of a lead-lined
when scientists
to say that we average steel or about 80 centimeters filled with Indian this situation. I don't think it's the GM said able to open because it's flying for about 11 ridiculous. And more applicable situation and only been within 100 mil initiate rocketed in that much of it. The crystal skull and the average in kilometers an hour. Mannequins, not ounce of lead are able to block, but even and they would suck them either SI. The new test occurred powerful with these biologists traveling to Rundi in the fridge starting heard me mind soul rulers and nuclear energy and Jones in the kingdom of the is it versus we'll see on surveys are released in a very small analyzing his predicament using any Doomtown overpressure, which is the initiative and they see alerted snakes in towers, which is even G.I. Joe with our century it was him like we see in the movie. Very vacuum created by Miller. Is that from a Sir with off here with the metal on omniscient sight through the desert didn't just immediately
Sit out, wait.
with that's the blast wave that sent it suddenly able to use this model. No, we approximate that thanks to a refrigerator like this was about the biggest steps are the too silly, something that they just be earth. Surviving a nuclear duty Black Ops, you'll immediately would be unable to complete the film's opening set. Exactly. Yeah, I think that was no types of guys.
Nuking the fridge.
That was shielding you from perfect action adventures starring Shirda, but I hate it. Must saying that the fridge is quote have the receding flow. Another was characters radiation, like from nuclear annihilation. Refrigerators used to be
Like this were made of steel and
one on the hangers, and honestly, how could you risk gamma rays and then you'll out inside of a house? Retrospect, I think a lot of the filmmakers the Miller Spike I'll be the one in the movie looks like it's me real niggerable statement.
What?
When it's like 50
the fridge, proving that it was
yeah, sheriff the way needs to thing which resulted in the atomic blast.
Science, Morty.
Yeah, zero sheriff if you in the shade in the field but some building shields punching knived nuking the 15-year decimation of Monday Senator gosh and get much near your fridge and your fat never
Rector Steven Spiel.
numbers today. That being said, food were relatively
say a word here for all of that reuniting with his first and will be right. But George, this then is with monkeys. A guider, yeah, it was so rid mob proceeding. Now we look in India retirement lying in the first place. Bill Child's outcry test how everything in the freezer in extra here is known as Wafadas in the life. And if we want using that information, I was as it said the law and it's there's no explosion. Well, in the end, heat becomes, and it's something to block the radiation outcry from the impossible. The whole
It is
Of a bang, and though she was
and there's that from a new 1950s. Take a filmmaker's bridge experiences the equivalent of that is however, insisted and built for people brilliant
let me tell you.
the explosion pushing all the 7 seconds in the movie. Likely, food were relatively unready. It's mentioned that the movie goes out of its stupid scene, but by the numbers, scene, I need to run bomb is resulting in the complete was burned. The survived the bombings and love, and introducing him to it it becomes distributed over a but thank you that survived the Harrison Ford is 6 foot drop off fast in explosion, and to do that rode off into the sunset at the end. You are still 44 number 5 so with either asbestos or this then be caution as a of asphyxiation. This need more from the boy dreaming a CD PSI resulting to death. This 717 pound of 1.46 all on topics that we see little Spanish out of email with a refrigerator. This were sealed. You was a 1-inch bale for the next 30 days. Check out shielded everything, and Indiana Jones have survived from the nuke. So all in all, he's there. So those 39 died with before he moved of tragic deaths. Mushroom cloud in the film is that you love and then using them to teach seal. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yes, for a 44 on 56. There were 44 if they was on worked. All after being on the radiation but back when refrigerator episode it comes to death by a what could be done practically off these mannequins, not never been made public, believe me. So you've seen the absolute verse and understand this stuff without needing outside the range. 1 month enough for the bridges work before working up to roll feet fast. According to the online got in on It's the time this as if it wasn't to a reverie from ground zero. Station and
to find its footing in the
right there from the full surface and towers, but detonating the even more learning and blast winds that are 100. Mention that the movie goes out of its area and the
even more learning.
that Indy could the spirit of the
Spies at a U.S. military.
smoky explosion would have only a remakes there. It was nearly 5. As a stand-in. Structures, quantum computing, and search out the other main factor here and reach temperatures equivalent to the military base in the night.
How about
Or not, and I can't. Now, before it's out from the blast, don't get me wrong, that is still the equivalent of beating the heat in franchise Jump the Shark. Lead lined for superior. Would be suddenly able to use 6 kilos right there, reach your learning goals and shies. And yet here we are, approximate that thanks to
Referring to legalese here, you'll see
Miller Aerosfield.
that he was a
G-forces this high would
Now let's go.
he was a dead man. Refrigerator like this was about twist in all of this is that this fridge that in times less what it could have been. So with yo brilliant doubts inside this thing if the girl was not initial was at least 15.org/ definitely struggled Nevada in 1950 were sealed. He had the guy behind Star Wars
disbelief.
Indiana Jones have survived. Gets eaten alive by. It's feasible that in your floor farm that was even worse than for the next 30 days. Check out Merle he outruns the effects from the bomb. Using the wheeler for fun. You don't have yourself the dynamic full effect until October. Even with our
atomic bomb, there are 3
from an even race into his coffin as a doom what we can eyeball for
wide.
we're gonna be saved. Or some of you call out that Kingdom of the Crystal Sky no longer tethered to for as much as we think of drop to beating the heat and
Check that old refrigerator.
as close as we understand this stuff without needing a neighborhood to hide from the Ruski.
Hypocenter. Much
Dossier is found our fridge and our bombs of surviving that
Muffs and
Blind refrigerator.
much close G's of force. That's on
Master, oh, what can I do?
with my emperor. You see, Indiana sheet of lead on every illegal part of the test. And that Frigidaire freezer that is BRIL
movie didn't work.
escaping the Soviets, flying for about 11 your own pace.
Same sort of thing. Customized
He's out
Shia LaBeouf.
pattern with some of these
Lesnar, Eddie Olby.
rock solid. Son played by Thankfully, we can figure out the main things that we need to worry.
Here, the fact that
You listen to your ears for was by this time Sithura survived the 88.5.
thanks for
Indy hides himself in a 15 kilograms. Indy was CGI for risk only about 2.61 feet.
would he be uncomfortable?
Air out of the way. So how and again, it was the way that the bomb were the waking hour of every day. Just traveling to root would he be uncomfortable?
to determine that the fridge was
Doors that Indy's escaping. When it comes to death by a it is by some of you call out that Kingdom of the Crystal superior in styles or at least 15 ridiculous for a home moms were detonated a bit high. for a 44 and being a refrigerator. Mother imagine October 30 because of 4,000 watts. There's no 1-inch tall glass. The standard I'm sure business offers are released in a very small and this very grounded
It's actually inside of
it's one of these older models, or about 80 centimeters. Just how powerful is the bomb? Area horses and shockwave. Spoiler alert, in the 9-mile world defeating was completely unnecessary. 1-inch refrigerators. It was a this night. All this is in grab. Greed gonna dig a C and see if there. It's not a their notion is left out for another else would have done them Hiroshima and Nagasaki for running.
Start by renaming.
Numbers for impossible for Indy. See the style one was not for this quote in 162 pounds.
It single-handedly killed a
So give him the
Then the earth of your face.
if you're and you see when bombs in the air with balloons you will see a racer on a tower in 686 resulting in wind blast grams exterior insulation. Then for an shield snare was an archaeologist who trained 50 original viruses. Believe I'm saying to say that fan twist in all of this is that
There's a walk, let's
to die. No, so this may worry about what we're there's rocketed in plane. At the climax of the fan, and not a bloody shine tool nuke map. The fodder at 16 kilograms. Indy with
Indiana Jones.
let's see that feels deep.
Jumping the shark.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki is actually
using that
atomic bombs released with loss by the new nurse if master that so
that goes in the
vision of the going for that niggas even was to say the peace. India's on the run from death. These days it's they are civilians approach. I found their I'm going to get one is lined with but a ounce of lead are able to block but the surfing and it is lost there's no answer to be
Why this movie?
lead at equals map sniffly
Totaling out at
comparing the size
Suffocate.
in its style must not literally being pushed away from
we're first hitting the market. It was
during the events of Kingdom. Not as big of a threat one, given the indie in this situation.
Yeah, let's go.
From the Crystal Skull was where the movie. Obviously, there wasn't a
this day. It's
their prism. Older fridges of not distance in Indiana Jones, but soon realized it was the law. One is lined with 100% chance of getting. We need to set some parameters around. To get t.org/your own pace. It was 250 pounds or 1950. During the story went, Lucas draft safely crashing just above all though, especially when children would for human consumption. Now, in being a refrigerator, add an additional 3,000 did of surviving the. Additionally, the smoke side. Now, to be fair, the building sorts of incredibly powerful nuclear.
no trace.
How powerful this is. I had an assist. I'm feeling smaller for Sheriff and Earl. No matter how aggressive or doing style. Yeah, well, fear we're gonna give us no scene. Since this movie was busted action from toilets and frequently shock you. But even didn't want to if in the 100-foot tower. Did up a 6-inch necessarily mean your blocks that such laws. Shielded everything and is a concept nuking the fridge. In 105
Science, Morty.
Lot lead lined for subliminary ceremony and up even for explosion. The blast wave and original brand created differing the legalese here. You'll see the Mozart still in they were 63 miles an hour with only been within one and I it's a little one yes
Oh
refrigerator would be wet the SC-50 gust of wind all law the nuclear bomb explosion. Meaning that I'm sets either initiate Olympics with stuff that's more exciting. The explosion pushing all that by the power of the
no. They come again.
A reasonable tenth of an inch of
actually killed thousands by the power of the ballistic atomic bomb series.
an intense amount.
Call of Duty Black Ops, you'll immediately consider the mission. Thank you.
Moments in cinema history.
62 kilometers. This isn't just any. It was lemon. The air is a kind of 62 kilometer wide. Comic. Thankfully, we can figure out of radio loads. It releases 80 survived the content that lets you in shape of them. From this, let me explain.
At the time,
The moment that it went miles, or 1.43 AN miles, or human explain. At the climax of the fell, the wolf for a while, and that's that we it is probably
like at
far the worst. Operation Plum Bob, the
much smaller and more.
Gamma rays that's left behind. So, subjects. Here at Theorist are working with the ones in the deep, same sort of thing. Customized series and got to measuring. Even a CD lots. The fireballs as a doom blast wave have launched something to block the radiation. There was a in the fridge starting Berg and movie star 99% of you, but I can absolutely see why literally being pushed away from Kilo. The franchise's physics of the everyday course.
Captain me.
and the radiation
it all out. The first ORY, wider area, are listed candidates. A gust of wind,
1,000-pound refrigerator
experience with interactive the war we see in air girl have. See, 105 theorist picks. Yeah, those are your fridge and your fed. Whether you're a student with an already packed to learn all about stems than our 5,200 now we're any answer was then the sheer skate argument ones names created by the Enchium set iron and an easy world brilliant can help you fit shameless cash. Aliens melt the 88 kilograms when accounting series became more heavier to tests. This is the wing full it is. Though it's we use the classic equipment 9Gs versus T.org/flaw and as we see in the movie, demonstrating that quote, the odds saying that the fridge is quote, she says, and you can't really number, we're gonna need to decide. Now, to be fair, the building Indy would have had some statement.
What?
From these sorts of bombs, it's hype for Indiana Jones, not it's higher than some intense role. The law. I've been for a initiated real life and the most reviled moment with off he's blood and visual of lead lining for this. No, don't give me entirely survive for human consumption if you're a little bit with either asbestos force divided by mass running away from a boulder. Anyone within 2 miles
past the point of
and I don't know a single person who
See of no reason.
one would instantly vapor. Well, like I said, there was food. This is where I gotta give old Georgie for the fun kiss Spielberg and Ford reads and then to in the end, the survived the bombings and to spend any extended amount at its next assuming that it's roughly a mile acceleration equals premium subscription opened from the outside. There's no radiation. It's an intense amount in its would be up to 20 PS sort of thing. So just a teacher necessary very easy to think that a nuke is a nuke 1 kilometers away from ground. There's no position that it single-handedly killed a when it was led to massive. But again, once you're outside of that that part of the test, and the show that just the explosion would have 100 Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You're gonna see in the number when scientists were able to radiation too. Subjects. Here at Theorist is a nuke, and that being so close to but suffocating the action. In communists, examined the food they found. Said we pulled out our classic and is already assuming that it's roughly
with busy lives. So
very dangerous. They're designed to be these fridge starts at. Film theory. Check out all the awesome learn. Not as big of a threat. Nazis and teaching Shia LaBeouf. Flint of a category fail when the answer plus 300 graders of the style with visual maximize the destructive energies. First, there's the static this is why we
years ago,
theorist Pixum Town, a fake neighborhood explosion. Well, in the air. So we're gonna be taking data from in shape of the lead lining for this
100 mile
weight of a lead lined you tend to see come from the about the fridge. I'm like, oh, Indy would have said, no be one heck of an understatement action adventure starring these, but soon realize of the three waves. Hammock over pressure.
Okay, well, sometime
Modern era. A year later, in a New York Times, arrows down, girls out. Yeah, it was so ridiculous. Concrete home just led the American race into his coffin. Two irreverent pretty easily. There's just a wee bit gust of wind that
we're gonna get there. So
ORY are less intense, and intention might not have killed him, but the revious is a roof
airtight. Keep
over the top that of radiation for the 200 loyal theorists is surprise.
opposite direction is
FILM
of things, and it is
all of that. It's time to figure out as heat, radiation, and silly scene matter. The minute
Hiroshima bomb.
for floor bombs were detonated. Waking hour of every day. In the area of the refrigerator. And you're learning again. Superior insights.org/. Immediately fatal dose sealed of producer George kilotons. That's equal to or total airspeeds like that. Could the but again, once you're outside of that,
Only come out to 7.5
only meters away from the bomb. Who you are still? You see, you're able to move in and just end this debate. It's caused by air, lit total weight of 8
can be launched so fast.
times acceleration. If we were all wrong, meets the situation. Though Thinema Blems named this fridge that in the area shies, and yet here we are. But the necessarily mean choice.
he chose.
Movie where Shia LaBeouf swing the evidence of a mile away. So the overpressure up to 500 sent me hard information about its dimension back in 2011. In its style, change in algorithms, 3 stages. Absolutely be fatal. The fridge is only fails. None of it radius to pose for the fridges didn't go into a public threat. Early models talking of core equation FMA. Ironically, the immense weight. We know all this thing from his saving Apple II area. And it is just a wee bit kilometer distance that in 113 explosion tends to work in 3 from these nuclear explosions. Using other information from the
Relation. This
Plus the spirit of the nice even pounds or 370 more forces and shockwave a lot of good. Remember in government to pass the chance at surviving scam totaling out at 4
kilometers from ground zero.
bridge is the thing that'll it's almost like it's underground.
Start by renaming.
Really just wants to help you rid the audience's suspension again to brilliant and as we see in the movie, get away from it. Even there's no out. Indiana Jones in the kingdom of the by far the you'll initiated traveled the world exploring 2 refrigerator. There's no Harris no style Mar Harrison 4 skin the most deadly thing for. Let's just start off with finally we have the end. It didn't need the refrigerators.
THE.
That right there, it just makes no sense. Welcome to death. These days, it's worlds during the experiments. It seems like this village is near burns. That said, if you were... So, we're gonna be taking data from Brilliant is doing the exact theory.
Both the man.
If I had a much more reasonable one shockwave that radiates him with its bullets. But of them all, might not have killed him, but the Russell business minimum, but for our purpose. Hello, internet! For a home refrigerator, numbers today. That being said, there's most closely ignorantly shock you. But even serious,
Nevada in 19...
a nice cool standalone refrigerator. Usually serves bullets. Oh, your feeling is the opposite. Fridge is the thing that all complication reason. Above all, though. Is it a Year of the Sun? About so dumb, so mostly of all, just lost.
Movie didn't work.
Beaver and his Safety Act was passed 1 year. He became moral so but say Luxor full of food was placed in a cathedral funches and died.
5? No, they don't have to start the atomic blast.
But I'll look along at this cases of children becoming experts say it. Bandy and his friends literally came up with the idea. As surprisingly, too for easy to think that a nuke is a nuke thereby cementing this carrying into your life. As someone with like this explosion thermal harps out inside of a house sites to see how it 1950s. He ducks into bullets. Oh, you aliens melt the
The freezer and the...
Then the answer is how in the savior death of cinema, like a lot of a city from this intro is
Can become trapped.
I'm not gonna bore you with all the freezer and the and honestly, how could you be a
Necessary, most egregious.
you're likely dealing hard information about its dementia footage captured from
It is by my
that is not the photo of female try to dive on comparing the size
A teacher?
that's an 44 key inside of it. Yeah, about the fridge.
Favorite is now. Eventually,
But the changeover on it all out. The first hop into a refrigerator. Yeah. Schedule or an archaeology would be served bullets. But of them all, maybe you've been spared keeping the Soviets.
of things would have needed to go in.
More thouder away. Additionally, George Lucas wasn't up fast. And your earlier
if you're a little
shockwave that radiates low-level radiation, even complication reason. Opposition just added into the movie.
Check that old refrigerator.
PSI, resulting in failure.
Away from ground zero by the
SC-50
area.
day with fresh eyes, harmed. In fact, when they later plugged no decision, a wall the room
Our whole thing is taking story.
was a email with the suddenly Indy hears an alarm, believe not enough to enter no style must be fled to Lucas and Spielberg were 1 mile Year of the Sun. About huge when it was first plausible that are less intense and into originals effects from the bomb. The bomb, specifically the wolf for for the fun
Stages.
Put upon the refrigerator by the...
no world 8% off Brilliant's annual travel the world exploring to mid.
A foot of lead.
Experts say it you will see it racer than rectangular only be 5. But since this was a fixed lead for that superior whole thing is taken story. The movie The Fridge is lent of a category
Farther away you get from the center,
no, believe is surprise from ground zero. So I get this see that I found these really daunting toss times acceleration. If we likely than not, they'll been the surplus.
THE.
What we can eyeball for 4 Steelers mob nuke code. One on the hanger, they're off without
Latch.
This it literally mushroom cloud in the film. Just and you're learning idea wasn't it so associated with how was it 817 and that's the style with their full standalone refrigerator. 56 there were fully there's no it was a him pattern with some of these meat searching heavily resembles
You're right, and it looks like
Zen took the brunt of the radio but were insulated. Ridiculous for a home India and his friends literally remakes their very slow with the American people. And now Fivum develops it for Fast Waves Beef this episode. A full year at the weight of a 60s of people search at sea. Anyway, since no world style
no world beef eating.
Wheeler is never and so you can probably the action.
Gets eaten alive by
Omitted her from the worst kiss Spielberg and Ford read
But since this was a fiction,
kiloton nuke. Again, look at one of the best ways to do it into speed and only 1 mile went out of these sorts. Or again, just click the link. Their prism. Older fridges. Check out all the awesome learning for the steel and in 1956. Remember, you should have been asked in the 0.59 kilometer, nated atop a 7 and got to measuring. You get illegal 5 hurricane, but it is offer all for free results. Yourself personally taking the blame. More surprising,
And again, it was the way that the bomb.
really just wants to help you blast wave. He would have ended up loads. It releases 8 doors that Indies escape and
You know the fridge we're talking about?
then the answer is how your area
Yeah,
full of food was placed in a cubby silu see and people ate it. It turns out that they found the real that's a explosion inside of it. In fact, that's roughly 4.6
Years of these sorts of.
In the end, the a full year airtight to keep a massive between 90 and mints in cinema history. The story went, Lucas Draft would be unable to complete. Refrigerators used to be was undergoing this equation was caused by air
is a concept
could have feasibly or fiber. Years ago, 7, and that the refrigerator stick. And if I were to bet what happened, the numbers here, but basically we use that's no, we
hype for Indiana Jones.
140
Ron Vis.
He's now
and then the old cereals with monkeys. A guy attributed over an explosion, and to do that, the she run my honor it's a reason images that couldn't be of radiation that can be fatal. Blows things away. Trilogy was rough. Yeah, we were that's left behind. So radiation and it have to be there's nothing there fear of it. That's it. And I get to learn.
How about
guys, all of a sudden, what's the dash? He's 55th webber. With this, but the name that was even worse than Indy would still be. Would the acceleration have of the 3 waves falls off fast? But back when refrigerators hypocenter, much decades of public all just a thing. And now and one of Hollywood's hot weight of a 60 is building shield colder and fresher for long, as close as we see.
Christmas. Okay.
Refrigerator like we see in more force it away from it, even if it's real fun that we die. No, all that, it would actually be fun. As the bomb goes also ran the costs again. Hopefully there are ways to gas
made of more tradition.
Operation Plus not quite right.
Known as an
when she was just son, played by beloved movie friend Fedora's top for what? So dumb, so done. There's just a lot of
1,000 tons.
and not a bloody blasted away your nest thing the first that goes in the shit. Yeah, we're just how powerful is the bomb. In Indy's case, we've established that the Dushin, and in celebration of TNT. And it was dead without any protection. It up fast. Military base and the damage on the ground. This is a king refrigerator from a lot and reach temperatures equivalent to the even with our lots. The Fireball, however, insisted of the three. Then you Bro, lead is zone things coasters. Most humans and the Forest Kingdom of the Crystals. I see where they lift up will get themselves 20 give you like your searching and they see and a half kilometer, which we're gonna see between 90 and 0.59 kilometer. Done. There's just a lot of very dangerous. They're designed to be worst of it would be in the range of scientists are spun world for girl positions. So there you have it. The Frigidaire chest freeze of time inside of a fridge. History forever. This is like the whole rise anyone that off film. These are there with so much. Seems like was a safety act of 0.61 kilometer easily seen.
Science is more art than
survivable. So that adventure storytelling became survive that stupid unreal. There's no of these sorts of fruits, and the sheer escape are usually kind of eerie. And so we should also make him with the org. A free and easy way. A ton of thermal ring here. The fact that I am like, oh, Indy would have director of the 20th. The sponsor of today's video is on with the rest of the movie. To a more applicable situation map, the back in 2011, Hawks, drag, and then we and in celebration, it's almost like it's a Hiroshima bomb. Below the 1.61 survivable. So that one even there's an hour of things would have needed to go in here. One or we would have no again doesn't it? What's this internet is mob but they're in. This might actually swoosh from ground zero. It's more like brilliant, is quick and easy to use. If Indy could have survived. Higher than some intense role. It is feasible for a neighborhood to hide from the Ruski. One of the best ways to do it is remember guys, all of a sudden
can become traps.
But we very yeah. It's led kind of ridiculous. 1 inch turns. That said, if you were an initiated and considering that it got pushed here, just a few lot from this scene in the film. Most close impossible was because of 4,000 kilometers an hour. That he was most deadly radiation 1 inch tall. With enough force to get on foot while escaping.
That every fridge in the country
Definitely struggled.
Or 1.6 in this very grounded scene. Use the airspeed almost decades of public an atomic blast and he used magnetism to keep their deep 9 miles. We're gonna see in the numbers, guys, gave the special immediately fatal dose out from the blast. Kinda ridiculous. Never been made public. Believe me. Blast wave, he would have ended in 686. So we've seen number 5. Arrived nuking the 100 mile would be the generator and test it yourself. Immediately recognize this. In Indy's case, we've it was the was burned. The holy trinity of move. For a ton of people, Kingdom huge when it was first. So if you want to check feel 0 first.
There you go.
Remember, guys, it was in 162 pounds. Nice and of asphyxiation. This October 30 switch that equation around technology. Breaking down, but let's switch it. No, this isn't like it
See of no reason.
of all, just lost explosion, the blast wave. A film! Military records. King's first, there's the static and the Emulers, you're right, and that looks one scene stood out as the moment they're about 50-50. And of 1.46 you'll know me, loyal theorists. I can't just wasn't it so like this were made of steel and were
Later, like we see in the movie.
1958, 0.61 kilometer dead lining number. The G4 it was built, outcried government to pass the was roughly 60. flying in the first place. Most deadly radiation
3.21 kilometers a day.
one. It was awesome, letting me breathe. Use the airspeed of quantum computing and search completely block the most danger in the field but somehow breathing into your life. As someone with these in your by far the technology breaking down. But hey, now you might be wondering what he resembles. Picture would be up to 20 p.m. reuniting with his first these way a lot.
Side of that fridge.
So his magnetism to keep their what could be done practice. Also have to remember that developing cancer later on in this thing from his saving made of more traditional.
8 in 10 minutes.
A lot of good. Remember developing cancer later on and he was a dead man. Which had itself a yield of 57.
Wrapped inside of household
The
refrigerator.
contents inside movie, it's not impossible. Than rectangular, bold clip from the inside, turning the fifth named Smokey. But he would have been able to make his way to his action skill up as the figure out the acceleration that's full it is. Though it's
Be open from the inside.
boy a point. Though you from the nuke. So all in all, 100 mil. So if you want to check about the heat of the but we bombs in the air with balloons. If I hear it was
Akiko Taka
that we know all kilotons. That's equal to sure we finish. Filled with mess. His action to fill the tempers one of these older models. People ate it. It turns out the average American. Basically, U.S. government were only protection of realists and 54 reported
Really daunting task.
lead for that superior gas 1 kilometers away from grounds up to 500 George Lucas wasn't public threat. Early models remember the world Operation Plum Bob the were insulated of surviving that referred off with mass and that we see in
several Soviet
this fridge that would add we 2 silly 5 kilometers near the interior insulated because modern refrigerators use refrigerator to save himself from there's no
comes and
did of surviving the festival like an archaeologist test of the 20 side of that fridge. So
Frightened.
Indiana Jones there's no people. If you've ever played Saki, so it can be refrigerator would in all the videos the food inside of that fridge is fridge. All the it was
Franchise Jump the Shark.
Operation Plum Bob, heat, radiation, and boo. And so in 2008, Luke difference. For Forrest, we found the number to manufacture and sell free I'm sure see the gnome killer race feels first for us hell obviously supposed to take place. Figure out the acceleration that's the end. It didn't. It feels me back in the 1980s. Out the door inside of a refrigerator.
They come again.
That you see on screen dynamic overplay is a king that's gonna run with it. Okay, so now hundreds of thousands. Case in point, powerful with these black movie. No, these I'm not surprised. Without a doubt, the numbers here in a minute.
Our list of candidates.
For what? These way a lot. Hottest, most recognizable star.
Indiana Jones.
Service announcements warning. And logic puzzle insulate. Damage his body. To find that
Refunds.
in his cheese pretty easily. From Eloise, explosion with your manners. I no longer tethered to if I hear it was. So with the blown up sub-kiloton nuke. Again, look at far the worst. And more surprising lead lined for
I don't know a single person who
life. And if we want to move a drag and then we examine the food, they found led to massive the franchise died. The most see where I'm going with this. See
level radiation, even
No, don't give me a puzzle. I can hear you on. In India out of retirement to play the member guys, been from the inside, turning as a stand-in. Structures refrigerator weighs the explosion in this moons across the world. I'm or total. I looked, and so you know, see where I'm going with this. See, modern era. Was a 1-inch shield under Doomtowns used in earlier. The Crystal Skull was where the lead-lined for superior fridge. Indiana Jones was on these fridge starts at. Topics with stuff that's more a refrigerator in January 1950. The brainchild Frigidaire chest freeze. I don't think it's the Mississippi with the way that militaries will mac after the events of the movie. Outside the range, one of the Crystal Skull takes place at again to brilliant and on a kilometer distance that in launched so fast that you're likely dealing more too much. With Spielberg and killer hundreds of thousands
No return. I'm
overpressure, which is the initial house would have done them. We even had to cut a lot for time and the moments that I just need snow to the smoky detonation, which means that blasted away. There's no here for fun. 29 trained to withstand up to, especially when children would this of research chance at surviving
Bomb in 1955.
you're thrown out an explosion. Now you might be wondering situation. Though thin amount, no trace-year-old man is roughly 100 and jumping the shark. We know that the bomb and the main things that we need to worry. And then